Number 1, consider approving a letter to the governor regarding state funding for senior services. Heather Jones, the AAA director from DHS Human Services, is here to present.
Good morning. I would just like to thank you for the board's willingness to submit a letter to Governor Polis to increase the general fund support for the state funding for senior services. With over 43,500 Mesa County residents over the age of 60 and 9% of those residents living at the poverty level, the state must recognize the need to increase funding for critical aging services for our older Coloradans to meet the ongoing and rising needs due to the rapidly aging population. The state funding for senior services helps provide area agencies on aging funds to contract with local community providers to help older adults live independently in their communities and avoid or delay the more expensive institutional care and Medicaid programs. With the cost of living continuing to increase, particularly for food, medication, and housing, our older adults on fixed incomes are affected the most by our inflationary pressures. Our older adults are reaching out to local community providers for assistance. The area agencies on aging have not had a budget increase in the state general fund since 2018. This is the last year we are receiving our COVID relief funding and our homestead funding. Without additional funding, it will be difficult to maintain, let alone increase critical aging services that allow our older Coloradans to age in place. Thank you.
As Heather just mentioned, we're a growing population. I shouldn't say we. I said there's a growing population of older Americans in Mesa County. I think statewide it's 1 out of 5, but in Mesa County it's 1 out of 4. So we're absolutely growing in that population. And services performed over here, like meal services that Meals on Wheels does, transportation to needed services throughout the week. And so it's an absolutely, and then on the entire long-term care ombudsman program. So absolutely needed. I think since 2012, the state budget has almost doubled, but that hasn't been the case for services to seniors. So we would definitely like to see an increase in that because the service level and the service need is going up, but our budget isn't matching that need. So definitely encourage Governor Polis to increase the budget for these services. And thank you, Heather, for all the work you do in this community. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, I will echo everything Cody said. But additionally, these letters that we send out to our representatives, to our governor, these are so important because sometimes we don't necessarily see the impact with boots on the ground, and just relaying what's happening in our community to the governor, I think is a really excellent opportunity to really, for them to gain clear insight into really what's happening and how these dollars really affect real people. So I thank you, Heather, for all of your work on this. This is very important to Mesa County in the way that we treat others. So I just applaud you for putting together this letter, and we couldn't be more proud. So thank you. Does the public have any discussion on this item? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.